This is the final table that we're going to be going over if anyone is here. It is Lex final table is the first one we got, which is pretty cool. Completely unintentional. But I'm pretty happy because, you know, get to go over one of my good friends' final tables, get to see what they're up to, get to see what some of the high stakes regs are up to. This is the final table that we're going to be going over. Pabritz, lunatic. Grade A lunatic. We have Gusmaa, play against a lot of time. Lex Veldhuis coming in third. Jamil, PT Fisherman, Pinguino, Josinho, Julian, Merlin. All players that we will play against on a regular basis. Alright, I'm just going to jump into it. I don't know how the pace of this is going to be, but we're just going to go over it. 29.6 million would be 100k starting stacks. That it looks about, doesn't it? So we do some gorilla math. So we will go and we will make this 17. We will make this 21.5. We will make this 25. We'll make this 28. We'll make this 31. 30.5. Then we'll make this whatever 33.5, 35. We're gonna just jump into it. It's gonna be pretty chill, right? I'm gonna do some commentary. I don't know what pace we want to do this at. I don't know. We'll see. We'll start pressing play, and if it feels like it's too slow, we'll bump it up. But at the same time, I don't want the action to be just like bam, 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 all in. But as you can see, the prize pool is up the top. $49,000 plus bounties, which is going to equate to, you know, somewhere in the region of 100k, as we see Veldhuis trying to sneak a little raise through first hand and it not working out. What you will notice on these high stakes final tables is that everybody is an animal. Pred Poker got third. He did bring in a bad beat story. I was all for the Pred, and then he sneaks in a bad story. A bad beat story. How much did you get for third, mate? That's obviously a 6 score. So I think that this is a pretty wide defend from Jamil. When you're covered in this situation, and as you can see, there's a couple of stacks on the shorter side. 8-6 off, like, oh, okay. Well, we're about to see our first all in at the final table. Fisherman going to be re-raising here. Don't think they're going to put them all in. I think I'd be very, very surprised. Goes for the 4x, and Gusmaa has you know, an actual decision because the chip leader will be attacking here. Oh my days. Decides to flat call the aces. Giraffe Ganger would tell us not to do that. Gusmaa's probably not loving life right now. Oh my god. Battle Knight called a 10 on the river. What a brutal, brutal run out for Fisherman. But at the end of the day, the best hand is just going to win. Got there eventually. I think you're just going to have to fold. I want to run a timer and see what kind of pace we're dealing with here. Like, I've put it up to like slightly quicker. Timer, Google. All right, we'll just go. All right, we'll check what the difference is when it gets to 10 seconds. 1 second. This is like barely ahead. All right, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Pabritz checks the turn. Fisherman is going to. This seems fine. Check back the turn. Maybe we do 1.25x. Maybe this is. Maybe. What's fine? Fisherman has a 9k booty? Yes, you are going to see some large bounties when you are dealing with $2,000 buy-ins. Alright, so we have queens, we have sixes. Mr. Veldhuis getting involved for the first time. Do we see Josinho doing anything? I probably wouldn't fold his hand as we see them coming along. And Jamil, I think, can just call. Does cover both players, but not the kind of hand clash you want to be shoving with, in my opinion. And Veldhuis with a interesting spot. If you're going to bet, like, queens would be up there with the hands, but I think checking a lot on this board is going to be good. Obviously, Lex not like overly trilled. Multi-way with ICM, you're just not going to get the bet too big, as you see Lex using the smaller bet. Jamil might take one off here, but does make a very, very disciplined fold. And Lex takes down the pot, but obviously would have preferred to get it all in pre or whatever. As we see Ping flopping the set against Julian. Do we just see them going for it immediately? The answer to that is yes. This is a horror board. Absolutely quaking my boots. And yes, we can see the cards as we see the all-in. It is 10s versus 5s, and it is showers for Julian out of there in 9th place. Obviously, every player on the table happy. Going to see a flop, and honestly, that is going to be very problematic for Josinho. I think with the ace of clubs, we're probably meant to just call here. Without the ace of clubs, maybe we just play for stacks on the flop. But Pabritz maybe thinks Josinho does not have the raise fold in them and decides to shove and wins 3.5 million. We lose players in back-to-back hands. Some quick ladders. So if we open from the low jack, right, this is a little bit different because of the way the stacks are, but we see fold, and then this player raises. I don't think you're going to get to do too much peeling here, but I could be wrong. Like, this is why I'm going to look at it. This is why I'm doing these final tables. All right, so there actually is a decent chunk of peeling with the pairs and then like these very strong suited broadways, but it's not the exact kind of situation that we had. It's very hard to get the exact one, but like, look, there is a little bit of peeling, but the point is there's not that much. All right. Pairs are a little bit resilient. This is what we were saying. Like these hands that you don't have 4-bet get in make some sense. I probably wouldn't peel these hands in this stack setup that we just seen. So that's interesting. Maybe slightly too tight in that situation. Not 100% sure. But anyway, that's just, I don't know if people want me doing stuff like that in the middle of this, or if you just prefer to stick to the replay, keep it a little bit more chill. But I think sometimes like looking at the spot, trying to understand what you want to do, and then looking in DTO is like a very good way to learn. But if you want to keep it more chill, we can keep it more chill. And this is a common pattern you'll see. It's interesting that Gusmaa just goes for 2x. I would play pure raise in this situation, but not with Pabritz. Pabritz is a gangster. I honestly love Pabritz. He's one of my favorite players to watch online. He is absolutely out of control and doesn't at any point slow down. We might be about to see an all-in for Veldhuis. Be interesting to see, does he go for the 3-bet? Does he go for the shove? Goes for the call. You will see some of this. I'm not 100% sure here if I would flat call, but I don't know for a fact whether I would be right or wrong. So like this is the kind of thing, again, we can kind of try and look for something similar. If we were to double up from here, we become chip leader, which is significant. But I mean, queens is still mixing, right? So maybe Lex's flat call, reasonable. As you can see, like we don't have much of a 3-betting range. We're either all in or, oh, sorry, no, I'm wrong. Excuse me, sorry, apologies. We do 3-bet a decent chunk. We're flattening a little bit. Queens is coming in there, just shoving some ace king off suit, shoving ace 5 suited. But this is not the same situation, because in this situation, this player's range is going to be a lot tighter. So if we look at this low jack range, like this is going to be a lot tighter than the chip leader probably. Although I'm saying that that's loose enough, isn't it? But that's not like that tight. All right, interesting. But Lex anyway goes for the call, and could be, maybe it's very, very good. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I think this is too wide, but Pabritz is a lunatic. 8-9 off into a player that covers you. It seems too wide to me, but look, this player is far better than me at poker. Maybe has reads on Fisherman as well, but I would most likely fold with the 23 big blind stack in the small blind. Will you replay your final table cards up after you win it? So if it's a 2K or higher, yes, I'm getting all of the 2Ks made into videos like this. Anything lower, maybe if there's like a massive 1K or something, like the main event, but I just want to see like the top players. And if we start doing like $500 tournaments and 1Ks, of course there will be some good players, but I want to see the creme de la creme. I want to see the boys at the top of the table. I want to see how these lads are playing pokers and how we need to adjust. And it's a good way to learn for us, not just from like carbon copy, like not just watching what they do, but also actually pulling up DTO, looking at a couple of sims, looking at the way it works. This one would be pretty close for me to want to shove. Stab in position denies equity and gets value from some smaller pairs. Yeah, I would bet smaller if I was going to bet. Like I think betting is going to be fine on that board. It's just a big bet. As Ping gets a little bit out of line and then turns the top pair, where got to be happy to stack off at this point. Jamil gets just a bad turn card and got to fold, unfortunately. Interesting turn. Do we see Lex ever lead here? We do. Nice. Go on, Veldhuis. Fucking stick it to the regs. As I'm your bluff in the chat would say, put him in the bin, son. Put him in the bin. Ooh, we got some stuff. I think Ping should call, and then Jamil's gonna go all in, and then Merlin's gonna go all in, and then are we gonna see a call? Like, what's gonna happen? This could be naughty. Oh, the ace king calls. Huge pot. Tens. Oh, 12 million chips. Barry Greenstein. Jamil's out of there in 7th place. Ping just bink. I don't know if that would be a call. See, like stuff like that. What minute is it? 32 minutes. See, like maybe I should write down hands that I want to run for myself and like actually study them. Pabritz, come on, man. He's been putting on a clinic and then you cooler him out of a tournament. That is brutal. All right. Little clap for Pabritz. He's been top class, even if he just got absolutely destroyed. So this is the kind of situation where I don't think you should have a flatting range. Now, will I be able to find anything similar? I don't know if we want to be shoving sixes of the hand class. Like it might just be a fold, but I'm going to have a little look and see if I can find something kind of similar to this. I think you're going to have to probably, is it a shove from Merlin? It depends how much you think they're aligned, but what you will normally see is that like this might be a fold, but then like ace 5 suited, king 6 suited will just be pure jams. Just because like when you do get called, you want to have the blockers to what they are going to call. I'm going to see if I can find something similar to this. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise from the low jack with 30 big blinds. There's a couple of short stacks, and then this player's going to raise, and then we're going to see. So what I expect to see is like not a huge amount of flatting, but I got it wrong last time, so let's have a little look. All right, so this is how I thought it would look last time. And as you can see, the pairs actually fold, but this region, like when you open a suited ace X, you just put it in their face. When you have king 10 suited, you're putting it in their face half the time. So the blockers do become very important because you want to not, you know, you want to block hands that they're going to be 3-bet calling. You want to block the top of the range. So I probably would have folded sixes in their position. As you can see, these pairs are just going in the bin. And then like this part of the deck, it's just like, yeah, we open, we're all in. You're still folding a lot, right? Like you're still doing a lot of folding. Like these hands are all getting folded. We're not going absolutely insane, but the way we play this is that we are very disincentivized to be flatting out of position against someone who covers us when there's short stacks. This one's a little bit more drastic because the stacks are 10 big blinds, but this is kind of how it's going to work when you are covered. Someone 3-bets you who has the chip lead, or like more chips than you. Like this is generally how it works. You combat it by just 4-betting about a third of your range usually, right? Like that's usually how it works. So you need to be careful with your opening range so that you can 4-bet about a third of your range. Like that's usually how it works. Like as you can see here, like we're still raise folding a bunch of stuff. What's their 3-bet range? They're going to 3-bet a lot with ace X and king X. Like that's how they're going to do it, right? Like see this? It's just going to be all this. All this suited stuff, you're just going to put them in a world of pain, and then we're only 3-betting kings, ace king for value. But it doesn't matter because when we have it, this is a big chunk of what we actually call. They're just going to be 3-bet calling this region because they don't 3-bet here, right? This is all they're going to call. And the reason why, that's why we don't want to shove the pairs, and it's why we want to shove hands like ace 5 suited, because we block aces, and if we get it in against kings, we're still alive. It's why we want to shove like king 10 because we block kings, right? That's just how these spots are going to work. I mean, I can show you, right? They're just going to be so all in, and then this is what we 3-bet call. I think we should just call here. I think with Lex's stack, you got to be very respectful of it. Ping has a very easy call, so you probably want to put more chips in here. It feels a little bit alien, but if you actually think about it, like what's going on here? What's happening? Look how small it is. Like they are doing this to control you. I'm Your Bluff says, who's the fucking weasel? Oh my god, I'm Your Bluff doesn't know who the weasel is. Pretends he's a real fan. Pretends he's a real fan. He ain't got a clue, son. Get him in the bin. Interesting spot. Be pretty gangster if Gusmaa found a bluff on the river. Oh wow. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. There's so many kings. Lex is all in. It's ace tray versus queens. And Mr. Veldhuis is out in 5th place. Ace. Oh my god. Oh my god. We had some naughty stuff. Some naughty stuff going on here so far. Jack 10 versus Jack 10. Merlin versus Gusmaa. Does Gusmaa ever fold a 10? Probably, but the problem is your check raise shoving into a completely uncapped range, and they're not guaranteed to bet. I think Pingu could use this as a re-raise against Fisherman. I think Jack 9 suited is a reasonable hand class, but just going to go for the call, and that seems fine as well. On the final tables, you start leaning a lot more towards the ace X and king X, which we've seen when we've looked at any hand so far. I would like to see a re-raise here. Probably want to be going bigger, and on an ace high board, you got to start with a bet. I don't think I'd find a double barrel with this exact hand class, but you do block some of the better ace X, and you can just kind of bet twice and then give up, you know? You're not very incentivized to limp here, in my opinion. You've got 25 big blinds, there's no other short stacks. Like, I don't know how much you should be limping. Generally, on final tables, you're not really meant to limp either. Some people do it, and some people that are very better than me probably execute it very well. But like, when you run it through a solver, it almost always spits out that you shouldn't limp. Because it goes back to what we were saying, is where like, when you have like your good hands, you want to get chips in, and you want to lower the variance by bringing the SPR down. You want to lower the SPR down, and you don't want to get into too many bluff catching situations, and you don't want to give like people a chance to like realize equity for free. So I don't, just limping there, like I'm just not convinced it's going to be great. But like, again, I need to be, you know, like these players are just, you know, they're elite, they're playing the top stakes. But what I would say is like, when I see some people that I know they're making mistakes, right? I make mistakes all the time, but when you see them and you know they're making mistakes, like it gives you that hope that like, this is I think it gives you hope that like these games are not like as like unbeatable as possible. And someone mentioned about the solvers earlier on, and one thing that I think is amazing about poker is that people have really different opinions on like how final tables should be played, and people play them really differently. Like we had a couple of people on doing high stakes reviews where they had completely different thoughts on how you should play final tables, and like it's the one area where it's not even close to solved, and it's not going to get solved anytime soon. Interesting decision to check shove this on the turn. Like this is over Finty's head. I'm not sure. It feels like a semi bluff. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like you can make a queen fold. That's like king queen with no spade, but you might get called by like ace jack with the ace of spades. It feels like that to me personally. All right, we do see the decision to check raise here. We see the all in. I don't think you can raise fold. Like if you're gonna raise fold, you probably shouldn't raise. We see the club on the river and ping winning the pot up to 8 million in chips. We do see the ace jack raise. I think this is going to just be a shove actually. We're going for a 3-bet call. Interesting. I would like to see if I could find something similar to this. I don't know if nines is going to make it into a 3-bet call very often for 30 bigs, but possibly. It's hard. It's really hard when it's also a PKO. We are going to see an all in. It's queens versus ace king. Huge pot. Huge pot. Gusmaa, unfortunately for him, losing the flip. PT Fisherman getting it. And so this is a spot I struggle with. Like I'm never really sure what's the best size to bet. I'm still interested if nines is the hand that you do it. That might just mean that we like 3-bet call like more ace queen and stuff. All right, like this isn't the same at all, but I just want to look and see like if nines is the kind of hand class when everyone has the same stack that slides in. It's not the same thing, right? Like it's just not. But I just want to see like does that hand class, because I would have thought it was an all in. It's like it's not the exact same thing, so like it's hard to like pull up exactly, but it's a little bit different because they're last in chips. Maybe it's just not comparable enough. All right. But it is at 30 big blinds. You see like the nines is just not making it in. How much do bounties affect post-flop play at 80 big blinds? Not much. How much do bounties affect post-flop play? I mean, like if it's just a single raise pot, it's not going to affect it greatly, right? Because you're not going to get 80 big blinds in a lot. As you get shallower and as the SPR gets smaller, then like it starts to be quite important. I think this is a turn card where we could see a pretty substantial bet from Fisherman. And honestly, like it's not fun, but it's also not fun to check 7 high on the river. It's a spot where like they're not going to be like over betting because of ICM anyway. Yeah, so they go for half pot. Interesting. Ping snap check raising. We see the ace tree open. Like I don't like 3-betting these hands, but we've seen Merlin use this hand class a little bit. It's just like I don't want to be 3-bet folding, right? We have got 4 players left. Every player is guaranteed $23,000. We can see some of the names that have fallen. Very good players. Oh, wow. I don't know if I like this. They essentially put them all in, right? I'm not sure about that with 4 players left. And here, 25 bigs might see a raise. But we just see the check this time. Wow. All in and probably not folding, right? That's a disgusting river card. That is the disgusting river card. Wow, that's a pretty good fold. Pretty impressed with that. People just don't bluff, do they? Even when it's the top regs and like when the chips start going in, like when the big boy bets start going in, you want to have the nuts. How do these guys fold those spots? Because nobody bluffs. It's all a myth. Not a single soul in the world managed to bluff in any single spot ever. Bluff makes no sense. Yeah, I mean, like if you have a pair there, like there's not much incentive to want to bluff. First of all, it's blind versus blind, and on top of that, any of your pairs just win against the bluffs. So blind versus blind, sixes are going to check. You would imagine they want to check it down here. The sixes, that is. Ping continuing to be aggressive. I think one thing you'll notice that even at high stakes, it's very easy to start opening too many hands. But if you've got a capable player on your left and they're going to start 3-betting you enough, like you got to make sure that you're 4-betting them enough or you're fighting back, or else you're going to be just like a sitting duck. You're like, oh, I'm going to open 40% here. It's like, what are you doing? Don't like this. Maybe actually. Maybe. I think I would just go all in pre-flop. If you don't think that you... I don't. Oh, wow. Wow. Deary me. What a spot. What a spot for the ace king. Chip lead gets handed over. How big was that bounty? How far does that go back? The bounty's 6k. 9-10, not the hand class we jam is a short stack. Yeah, you want to have like high card value. If you put this through a solver, like it will like prefer like hands that you might think are folds in general, like the king 6, king 7 area, probably even better than this. But I don't think 9-10 is going to be a shove and a bounty. But the king jack may be reasonable. Ace king snaps it off and becomes a huge chip lead. Every player now guaranteed $31,000, $49,000 for second, $49,000 for first. But obviously with the bounties, it's going to be probably north of 100k. Jacks, I think we will be 3-bet calling against Gusmaa. Here we do see the 3-bet. Do we see Fisherman pull the trigger with 4s? We do. Snap pull the trigger as well. Not even thinking about it. Get it gone. Get it all in. 3-bet calling ace queen, I'm pretty sure. But if you want to just shove ace queen off, I think it'd be fine. 10s going to be 3-bet calling as well. It is a pretty big ladder, right? Oh, wow. Huge pot. It is king queen versus 10s. The 10s is going to hold. Both players are now guaranteed the 50k. Both players are guaranteed the $50,000. But this will be a pretty big heads up. Gusmaa versus Fisherman for a scoop title, for one of the very early scoop titles. This was event number 4, the $2,100 buy-in. Our very own Mr. Veldhuis did final table it. All right, king heads up is going to be even more hectic, obviously. Has Lex won a scoop? Genuine question. I don't think so. I think he got second last year, which was the best. 119 big blinds versus 84 big blinds. As Rom Louise comments that it is a very deep heads up. You are not wrong. It is certainly not my area of expertise, but we'll try and say a few things. So it'll be interesting to see if both these players are playing close to 100% with a raise first in strategy, or if we're going to see any limping. I think we're going to be seeing a juicy check raise on this turn, and I don't think Gusmaa is going to be going anywhere. I probably would not fold in Gusmaa's shoes regardless of the bet size here. You block 5-4. You blocked it. Did they check? I hate the check. They check the flop. Oh god, I hate that. That's my least favorite thing I've ever seen in my life. That was the most... I think you probably want to check this turn a lot. What is this replayer? It's just something that I got made up for me by someone. As you can see, the ATB is underneath it there for every hand, but it's pretty tidy, isn't it? All right, so we see goes about 3-bet and ace-10. Fisherman with a very standard defend. Unfortunately, without a backdoor flush, I think just going to have to fold. I'm all in. There's no fucking way I check. Gusmaa, do they make the big call? Is this it? Is this it? The answer is no. That is a nice bluff by Fisherman. Unblocks all the flush draws, blocks the king queen. I think it's mwah, chef's kiss. Beautiful stuff. I think that turn card you got to continue when you check raise. Gusmaa with the queen 10, just going to fold. I think betting and checking both fine on this flop. I think check raising here is decent. Obviously, Fisherman going nowhere, and you probably got to give up there. Wow. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I'm not good at heads up, but they had the suits. They have both the suits, to be fair. All right, queen 5 versus the ace tray. Obviously, going to put some chips in here, some nice backdoors, but you just hard to fight back against that. I don't know, like, I honestly don't know with this stacked up, like what kind of hand class you're 4-bet folding there. Like, I think ace-10 be probably a little bit too good. I would, you're not making me fold. I'm not folding. So, it's kind of interesting because, like, they have the nut no pair, so it's not the most efficient in terms of a bluff. You're not going to win very often, but your EV's not going to be 0, right? Like, you're still going to win against some flush draws. And you're going to have a lot worse hands that would be a lot better to bluff. I can't remember if there was, like, a 9 or a 10 on the board, but even something like blocking, like, ace-9, ace-10 that aren't going to 4-bet pre-flop. Would be a lot nicer. Just have like 9-10, 10-8, something like this. I think personally, I wouldn't pull the trigger there with Queen Jack. Straight is good. I would probably bet mostly as Gusmaa. Obviously, ranges are a lot wider heads up, and that's fair enough. But when they check back, I'd probably on those 4 straight boards, I think you're only betting like pretty wide. Players do not like folding pairs, and you know what? It's very hard to get a pair in heads up, so I don't really blame them. Fisherman probably gonna bet here again, would be my guess. Doesn't pull the trigger, and now on that river card they can pull the trigger all they want. No matter what they bet, they will be getting called. It's kind of interesting if, like, you know, they do decide to bet, because what size are they going to bet? They don't rep a lot after they've checked the turn. If they're betting a 10, they're probably going to want to bet a decent size. So they do decide to check, save themselves some chips. I think this is a hand that you could probably check on Jack 8-5. I don't think it's going to be a mandatory bet. Oh my god, how scummy. Seems a little thin. They do have like a bunch of draws, but like you block some of them with the 7, so I'm not a fan of that, but I don't do a lot of raising on turns compared to some of these high stakes guys, so I probably missed some of it. Fisherman gonna have to call at least one. If I'm Gusmaa, I am just eyes on the prize, trying to get all the chips in, trying to end it right here, right now. I think without a spade here, this is just too wide to be calling with queen 10. Like you check the flop, like you're gonna have a lot of king highs, you're gonna have some ace highs, a lot of them will value bet, but you're gonna have a still decent chunk. If you want to call queen high, just have a spade. I'm probably betting again. Fisherman not in the most fun spot. Wow, puts it all in. Just says no. Fake tanks, a little bit of Hollywooding for the boys. Obviously, we're not going to see a call here. I don't think so. I'd be a little bit surprised. Just the fake tanks. Like, what's going on? What have you shoved? I would check ace-8 on this board. I don't think I like that size on the turn. Yes, they've got good suits, but I mean, heads up ranges are a lot wider, and I'm just not experienced at all in like these kind of bets on double flush draw boards being that size. So maybe it's a thing, maybe not. I don't really know. A full house, not going to be folding. So if they bet, we do see the stacks getting very even, and we could be playing this for quite some time yet. But in saying that, they're battling, right? Like they're putting a lot of chips in. Fisherman's probably going to be betting at least a pot. Wow. Fucking hell, man. I do some of these folds, like they get so sticky in some spots, and in other spots they're just like folding. And do you know what? A lot of the time they're right. It's pretty impressive. Ace king versus ace 9, going to be true betting. I don't think seeing folds. Fisherman flopping top pair. I think without a heart I would just fold here. With a heart I would call. It seems reasonable. Ooh, interesting turn card. Maybe one where we see Gusmaa blast off. See, I think you just need to be betting bigger on that turn. Like, what are you betting on the turn? You're betting at worst an ace. When you check raise the flop, like I think you just start piling chips in there if you want to bet. I mean, I could be wrong, right? Like it's just how I would think about it. I like putting a lot of chips in a lot of times. Sometimes I get it wrong, and that's fine. Betting with the second pair, getting peeled by king 4. I don't know if I'd peel there. Obviously value betting river without a doubt. The boys, they don't like to fold to flop bets. They like to make it a little bit trickier than that. We do see 2 pair versus a flush, which, you know, could get pretty dicey. Check raising on a turn. Only going to see a call. I don't know. Like, I don't think you can go for it all. All of it feels greedy. Wow, they only call with the flush. What? You have a jack high flush? What? Obviously, Gusmaa on the ropes now, but that's the wildest hand I've seen so far. Rom says to definitely do their heads up homework. It's so intense. Man, you got to be prepared to battle. You got to be prepared to go to war. You got to be prepared to just put in chips and sometimes look silly when you're playing heads up. It is absolutely insane. They're not going to give anything, but then they just call it. That was a weird one to me. It looks like we are getting to the end of this heads up in the 2K. I hope that people are enjoying this content. This could be it. Wow, they found a limp call. I would have ended up putting more chips in here. It is 16 big blinds versus 165 big blinds. It is big boy trouble for Gusmaa. Fisherman has been pretty relentless, and I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon. Gusmaa attempting to see as many flops as possible, not giving up on that dream. I think we might see a value bet here and probably see a call. Very, very frustrating. Sometimes in heads up, it just happens to be when you are not getting the best hand. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. It's great content, and also makes me realize how bad I am. Well, these guys are the elite of the elite, right? They are the best players in the world. So if they're making you feel bad, don't feel too bad about it. It's like watching Premiership footballers and them going, I'm so bad at my 5-a-side. Come on, bro. We do see the all-in, 10 big blinds. Still finding plenty of room for limps. Kings versus ace, Jack 10. I would have raised call to Jack 10 if I'm being honest. I think they got a bluff, and I think they got a call. So easy call. Potentially a raise there. All right, down to 7.4 big blinds. The final nail in the coffin will be coming at any moment. I'm surprised some of these hands are not getting shoved. Kings versus Queen 7. This, I mean, it's the first all in, but the Kings are going to be solid up to 2 million chips yet again. Obviously, Queen Jack never folding, actually raising. I wouldn't find that. So when I see stuff like that, it does make me Wonder if I'm missing some plays. Queen Jack all in versus the Kings, and it looks like that is going to be all she wrote. Fisherman gets $123,000. Gusmaa with the $74,000. That is it, boys and girls. I hope that you enjoyed this. I plan on doing it regularly during Scoop. I think it's a nice way to start the day. I think it's a nice way to study. Obviously, it takes quite a amount of time, so we're not going to do it every single day or anything like that. But just to mix it up a little bit.